Welcome to Diary of an Ex-Ho. I'm Cheri Hardman. I'm your ex-ho. Today's guest is Cait Lockhart. So sit back, relax, enjoy the episode, and remember the old saying, always a bridesmaid when you're a hoe.
I'm Cait Lockhart. I'm from Seattle. I've lived here my whole life. I'm cisgendered, hetero, female, and I'm divorced, but I've been with the same partner since then for about 6 years. It's long term.
Well, I'm glad to have you on here. Like,
Yeah.
I feel bad that I'm gonna ask you this question, but have we met in person?
We have, and it was a long time ago, and we were on a competition at Naked City somewhere, and I felt like I did really, really great. And then you got on stage and fucking killed it, and I was like, it's gonna be her. It's gonna be her.
Was that maybe the one for
Is it Patrick Higgins?
the Hilarious Comedy Festival? Yeah,
Yes,
I did kill that show. I
you
mean, it was.
really did. I was
I'm
like,
not
okay,
trying to
now I'm gonna
brag,
be
but it was
pissed if
kind of
she does.
undeniable. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a fun show.
that was super fun. You were awesome.
I remember that that day Kate Carlson's parents were there.
Yes.
And when my husband went to shake her dad's hand, he wouldn't shake his hand because I had told my ball joke about my husband scratching his balls. I mean, he was joking around, but it was kind of funny. That's what I always remember about that day.
He couldn't be too careful. He was like, mm-mm,
Right.
That's
All
funny.
right. So we always start off with the hair on my lip, apparently. We always start off with a game of Marry, Shag, Kill. And
Love
it's
it.
kind of hard when I don't know someone that well. So what I did, because I try to cater it to the person, is I went to I went to a joke that was on your page, and it was talking about therapy.
Sounds like
So
me.
let me share my screen. So I did the therapy edition.
Oh no.
We're going to have to skip a page here. And these were people that readily admit that they've gone to therapy. So you need to figure out who you're going to marry, who you're going to shag, and who you're going to kill.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna marry Kristen Bell because like I feel like Dax Shepard has only like improved as a human being since being with her. So that's a good
Yeah, that's good.
good point for her. Oh man. There's no way I'm fucking Prince Harry. And I don't know why. He just doesn't look like he cares if you finish. So I'm gonna say kill. And that leaves marrying or no, shagging Harry Styles, which I don't feel bad about that.
Okay.
I feel better about it than I would Prince Harry, I tell you that.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a good call on all those. I wasn't sure how that was gonna go. Because people are
Yeah.
usually kind of either anti or pro both of the Harrys. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know why I really feel like that about Prince Harry. He seems fine. Oh, he did wear that Nazi band that one time. That's where that's coming from. Yeah.
oh yeah, that's true.
Kill him.
All right. Off with his head.
Yeah.
Hi, it's me. I just stopped in to remind you to subscribe to my channel. Be sure to like and comment on stuff. It helps me. It does. It doesn't hurt you, right? So do it. Thank you. Do it. If it comes when it comes to sex, would you rather watch or be watched?
Oh, watch. I do not need to know I'd never do it again. If I knew what I looked like while it was happening, I know the faces can't be great. I can't. I would much rather watch somebody else. 100%. Yeah.
Okay. I understand that sentiment.
Yeah.
When you were growing up, what did your parents or whoever raised you call private parts?
Oh shit. I want to say it If we talked about it at all, it was very clinical, like penis vagina. That's if we discussed it, which
Okay.
I don't have any major recollections on. Thank
Okay.
God.
That's interesting. And that's what I'm getting like every time now. It's
Yeah,
either penis vagina or maybe like downstairs or you're down there or but like were we the like now I gotta keep asking it to know like were we the only family that said stuff like wiener? Maybe we were. I don't know.
wiener seems like perfectly normal. Like, I feel like if your parents are saying dick and pussy,
Yeah,
woof.
that's a little too much. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I could handle that.
Um, were your parents good role models for what a relationship could be?
Um, yes, which is strange because they're divorced. But when I was growing up, I was an only child, so I had a lot of like time to observe them. And what I noticed from a really young age is that they're very good teammates. Like they're really great with a project. So like if they were remodeling something in the house or, something like that, they communicated really well. Um, and we're always really respectful of each other. Which is why when they got divorced, I was kind of blindsided. I was like, but you guys are great. And it was because I was the project and the project was over. They parented me. And so they were like, well, this is a swan song. See you later. So,
Hmm.
but I would say while they were raising me, they did a pretty good job.
Hmm. That's interesting that you look at them as like teammates, and I can see that. I
Yeah.
always a lot of times that they say, God, where did I see like some contest or something where they're like, you can see like how well a couple's going to do. Like it's a good predictor by how they do if you put them on a project together. So
Right.
that's
For me,
interesting.
it's always IKEA furniture. If you can't put
Mm,
together like a Billy bookcase or something like that, you ain't gonna make it.
yeah.
That's the litmus test.
This is not what I usually ask, but I'm going to ask this because I'm curious.
Go for
Um,
it.
how do you think being were you an only child like all along, or just okay? How do you
Yeah.
think that's affected you?
I actually talk a lot about it in my comedy stand-up routines. It's very lonely because, I mean, for obvious reasons, in that you're alone all the time, but it makes you grow up really fast because you end up just by default being like a junior member of the adult committee in the house.
Right.
And so I feel like I always had like pretty good vocabulary and I was really like comfortable talking to adults.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it made me completely like doughy in a fight. Like I don't have any hand-to-hand combat skills because I didn't grow up like beating the shit out of
Oh,
anybody or
yeah.
having to defend myself. And I think that you just do like kid stuff that you think is normal, and you're like, oh, it's normal to interview all your teddy bears like you're hosting your own talk show. Like everyone does that, right? And they're like, no, we have another kid in the house that can actually like interact with you. So that was all foreign to me. So I'm sure it makes me socially odd.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was an only child for my brother was born when I was 5.5. So I had a
Mhm.
good chunk of years of being the only kid. So, I kind of remember what that was like. And I found that I could sit in on all the adult conversations and they kind of just didn't notice me after a while and they would say anything. So I
Oh,
heard a
yeah.
lot.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. And I think it makes me a really good eavesdropper. Like I love eavesdropping on conversations, and I still find myself doing it like it's
mhm.
normal. I'm like, people are
Act
entitled to
like you're doing
privacy.
something else, like playing with your dolls or something, but really you're listening.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Yep.
It's very sneaky. I
Mhm.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. I loved sitting and listening to the conversations.
Yeah, you hear all kinds of shit.
All right, so now I'm going to talk about, like, I want you to talk about your sexual awakening. So I would call that any time. when you first realized in the world there's something going on you didn't really realize was going on, whether it was sensations you felt in your body or things you saw or overheard. Can you tell me about that?
Um, I don't have really any specific recollections, but I do remember like all through elementary school having a crush on the same boy. And it was the same one that everyone else liked. And so I think that part of that like only child in my normal brain check was like, okay, well, if I'm attracted to him, like I'm normal too. And so just kind of realizing it's like, okay, what are we all experiencing that we want to like sit next to this kid, you know? Um, but I don't remember it being specifically sexual. It was just like, oh, he's super cute. Like he's cuter than other boys for some reason I can't put my finger on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
Mm.
yeah, not specifically sexual, but that's about the time that I
Right.
was,
Well,
hmm,
you realize there was something going on.
yeah.
Whoa, that happens every now and then. Uh, and my light's too hot, so I have something that's leaning up there precariously. And
Oh
every now
yeah.
and then it jumps off and attacks me in the middle of a podcast.
Oh no.
Did you have
Sorry
any
to hear that.
celebrity crushes?
Um, oh yeah. Um, my first celebrity crush was Dick Van Dyke because as an only child, you don't watch a lot of kid shows. You watch like the stuff that your parents grew up watching. And so there was a lot of like block party summer Nick at Night happening in my house.
I was gonna say, because you're not like you're younger than I am. How are you? Yeah,
I don't know. And I remember,
parents.
yeah, like specifically, like I'm 37. And so like those years that Block Party Summer was on, um, were very like sexually formative for me. And I think the same summer they had like Dick Van Dyke, who was very like handsome and funny. And then the Monkees with Davy Jones. And then I remember writing to his fan club as like a 13-year-old. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so cute. And then they sign a picture of themselves and send it back. And he was all old and shit. And part of me was like, what? Like I understood the
Oh,
passage of time and I was like, oh, what have I done? So they were never age or generationally appropriate ever.
right.
Yeah.
I always thought Dick Van Dyke was cute myself, but I'm, way older than you. So yeah, that's not your generation there,
It was
sister.
just born nostalgic and
Right,
hot for old dudes, I guess.
right, right. Uh, are there any like mainstream movies that you remember watching? Maybe not necessarily even when you were a kid, but just a mainstream movie that had like a love scene or sex scene that you always were kind of like, oh, they're like that does it for me.
Right. Um, I feel like anyone my age, it's gonna be Titanic, like the car scene. And that's the only one that really like sticks out to me because everyone else was talking about it. I think there were other things that like probably I was like physiologically responding to, but not really knowing what it was. But about the time that we were all like, let's watch Titanic 40 fucking times and make sure that we
Right.
rewind this scene over and over. I'm like, oh, it's all of
Yeah.
us.
The two most common answers I get to that are Titanic and Top Gun.
Oh, see, I've never seen Top Gun.
I haven't either, so
Yeah,
keep saying I'm gonna
but the
watch them.
volleyball scene, like, that's all I know.
It's hard because when you hate Tom Cruise now, it's hard to
Oh,
want to go back and watch that.
I
But
don't think I could do it.
if one
What's
more
happened?
person says that for an answer, I might just have to.
Yeah, I need some clarity on that.
Do you watch porn?
I really don't. I have before, like with various partners, and some of it is just it's so weird and laughable that I can't get into it the way I'm supposed to. And I think I just spend too much time like critiquing it to really be like, oh yeah, that's hot, or that's something that I'm responding to. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
why is his hair like that? Like,
Right.
I'm never in the mood when I'm doing it. Someone else is, and I'm
Right.
like, but it's something I should really explore more by myself. I'm told and agree
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
What is your idea of amazing sex?
I would say just very generally chemistry. Like if you have chemistry with somebody and you find them attractive and you can communicate with them really well and you have like that X factor going on partnership wise, that's always the thing that sets it apart because you're automatically more comfortable and you're more willing to like laugh at yourself because sex can be really ridiculous. And you're able to be more vulnerable with somebody. And I think that if you're not and if you don't have chemistry, you're just putting on an act, you
Mm,
know? So anytime that you can really get out of your own head, I think that's the definition of like great sex.
that's good. Good definition.
Yeah.
Um, how's your body image?
It's probably too good, honestly. I for a long time had body issues just like any other person. And then one day I kind of decided I was like, I'm going to tell people that I love my body and it's going to make them really uncomfortable and it's going to be super fun for me. And I did. And then it ended up like being this fake it till you make it thing. And I was like, once I've started like expressing to other people and therefore myself that I
Hmm.
like the way that I look, all of a sudden it just happens. And you're like, oh shit, like bodies are just bodies. And ones that have more to them are more interesting to look at, in my opinion. And so I literally just lied to myself until I liked my body.
That's really a good philosophy, a good way to do it, you know.
I highly recommend it. Just lie to
Hmm.
yourself. I mean, why
Well,
not? It's fun and it's free.
well, I mean, it makes sense because they'll tell you like, get used to looking at yourself naked, and once you're used to
Mhm.
it, it's not so like, oh, I hate myself. It's like, yeah, there I am again, and that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of shame about it. Like I was talking to my boyfriend the other day about how he's worried that his neighbors have like a webcam that can see into his kitchen. And I'm constantly just like walking through there naked for whatever reason at night. And I was like, if they don't like it, they don't have to look. Like if you don't like watching me like waddle shrekily towards the fridge at 2 o'clock in the morning, just don't watch. It's not my problem. Just probably not healthy.
Oh, what's the best compliment you've ever gotten on your naked body?
Oh, dang.
Your face did that.
It's like I'm gonna have to go back into the files. Um, it's usually compliments having to do with my ass because it's giant and it's still round. And I think people with like big old asses, like usually if you have titties too, you're just gonna be showing those off more because I think there's like a, a tit preference for people who have them. It's like if I have them, I'm going to show them off. If you have like a butt, it's not as like easy to show off. You're not going to like wear something that shows your ass constantly necessarily. So I feel like people aren't used to seeing like giant bubbly asses. So
I think ass has overtaken the titties as for popularity.
yes.
Like I always felt superior because I got big boobs, but I got pancake butt. So then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, something is askew. Like,
Right? Yeah, I
oh
feel like
no,
we didn't see cleavage or titties for a while, and I was starting to miss it.
I don't know.
But that's just
I
me.
think we can like both,
Yeah,
right?
I appreciate both. One hurts my back more than the other, but
Right, right.
yeah.
Do you have any sexual regrets?
Um, again, going through the files, so I'm sure I'm making some faces that are uncomfortable, but Um, I would say I more regret things that I didn't do that like I had the opportunity in front of me and I was like a chicken out at the last minute. Like I had opportunities to like do a threesome at one point and I just chickened out. Like I couldn't
Oh,
socially picture myself doing it. Um, I had the opportunity to sleep with somebody who was like significantly younger than me while still obviously being legal. Um, and there are days that like when you're in a long-term relationship, you look back and you're like, if I ever wanted to scratch that off the bucket list, I I missed my window. So I feel like when I set out to do like hoe shit right after I got divorced, I was ready to have regrets and I didn't really. And
mm-hmm,
it was more the things I didn't do for sure.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and speaking of, is there anything on your bucket list? I mean, besides what you just mentioned that you
Mm,
haven't gotten to?
not not really, because I feel like I ticked a lot of boxes in a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing it for science for a while. I was like, might as well just do it while you can. Um, and I didn't get enough of a rush out of any of it to be like, I have to find more things to do. Um, I mean, maybe a threesome, like maybe for his birthday one year. That's not necessarily off the table, but I think that's probably the only thing
Right.
that maybe I would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what's your Instagram?
My Instagram is at Cait Lockhart, CaitLockhart.
And then this episode will come out like I think the first Wednesday in April.
Oh,
So, do
okay.
you have anything booked around that time that you would like to promote?
Hopefully I have some stuff in the works, possibly with the Rendezvous at the Grotto doing cheap date comedy, maybe once a month. We're still kind of looking at dates on that, but watch my Instagram and there
All
will
right.
be announcements.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're at the part where I'm just going to sit back and shut up and let you tell me a story that you think is entertaining in some fashion that has to do with sex.
Okay. I wouldn't say it has to do with sex directly, but it is a funny story. When I started my Tinder profile, I had just gotten divorced and I was living with my mom in her basement. And eventually she kind of got used to the fact that like if there was a men's pair of shoes upstairs, she's like, okay, I'm gonna go back to bed until this situation clears out. But at first, she was really worried about my safety, which I probably should have been, and I just wasn't. Um, that probably goes in the regret column. Like there are some situations where I'm like, Keith Morrison could have been telling people about this on Dateline.
Right,
I
right.
wasn't lucky. And so she was like, you need to make sure to have mace with you. And I was like, I've never used mace in my life. I'd probably like end up misusing it. But if you insist, I will take mace with me on my date. And she's like, okay, well, I have some, but I don't know if it works. And so she steps out on the porch. I'm standing directly behind her, not knowing what she's doing.
Oh no.
And she tests the mace right upwind from me. And she maced me before my first Tinder date.
Oh no.
So I had to like get in
Oh
the
no.
Uber and I'm like, how long does it last? I sit down at the bar. I'm like, sorry, my mom maced me. I don't know what to tell you.
That's horrible because I've been maced before and that hurts.
It's terrible. It's awful. And like I didn't get like a direct like spray right in the face. Like, did you get it
Oh, I
directly?
got up right in my face.
Oh my
Well, I
God.
should be doing that to the camera. Yeah, right in my like a deliberate.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Like I would not know what to do. Like I just got back spray And I thought I was going to die because they don't tell you about the coughing. You're like, oh, your eyes are going to burn. Yeah, the eyes burn, but also you can't breathe. Your face is red and it's burning. Like not a hot look to begin with, but also all of your bodily functions are compromised immediately.
Oh, I don't know how you could have gone out on a date after that. Cause like,
Yeah.
of course, like maybe it's just because you didn't get as much. I don't know, but like, oh, I'll
Yeah.
tell you what we did. We went to, back in the day, up on Boren, there was a place called the Monastery.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a gay club, but it was under 21. Like you could go, like teenagers could go there and everything.
Oh, nice.
And so we went, and they wouldn't let us in, I think, because we were drunk. We were we were like 19 or somewhere around in there, and we went up to Seattle, and then for some reason they wouldn't let us in, and I was holding a drink and I threw it in the lady's face, and then they ran out after us and just like right. So I mean I deserved it, but
Oh my
that was
God.
horrible. Like I was stuck, like I couldn't see, like to even, am I standing in the middle of the road? Am I on the sidewalk? Where am I don't even know. Yeah, just for the longest time. And it was
Yeah,
awful.
if I hadn't been in the hallway of like my childhood home, I wouldn't have known where I was. I wouldn't have known who was around me. Like it's kind of terrifying. So it's not the most like fun story, but it like the dude was super hot. There was no way I was not going on that date. I was like, pour milk on my face, mom, something.
Right.
You go get this dick.
And, and he didn't think like it was weird or anything that you'd been maced by your mom.
He did not ask any questions.
Yeah. Well, hey.
I was like, well, good. This bodes well for his personality. It's a good test.
Oh, well, that's funny. Well, it's been nice, lovely talking to you.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to cross paths or work together or something
I would
because
love that.
we went too long without doing that. And then I felt bad that like, oh, we did meet. I do that all the time. And then I feel like an asshole, but I have
Yeah.
to ask. I don't want to say nice to meet you if we've already met. Oh,
Well, it was nice to meet you. And,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. Have a great evening.
You
All
too.
right. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.